It has actually been proven by science that if you reduce the number of tiny decisions that you have to make in the day, you have more energy to create.
You're listening to the One Man Business Podcast, brought to you by Rod Fancy. Everything you need to know to run your own show.
Welcome everybody to One Man Business Podcast. Today I'm super excited. We are talking about UX design, user experience design. Tom Lancaster. Well, he is a freaking awesome professional. He has a lot of experience with design, film, TV, and in his previous company he worked with Rolls-Royce, BMW, Sony. So lots of experience. Tom, thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
That's awesome. Let's talk about UX. Let's awesome.
Talk about UX.
I'm super excited. Guys, user experience, you can apply this concept in every single part of your business. From onboarding, from creating like proposals or creating like a knowledge base or giving instructions to your employee. Whatever you are doing, if you know the concept of UX, it will make your life so much easier. So to start on, I would like you to talk about a little bit about, like, try to break it down a little bit more UX so they can understand more.
Sure. So there's two things to say about UX on a kind of, on a super high level. Mm-hmm. What is UX? Fundamentally, it's the relentless pursuit of making things better.
Awesome.
Right? How can this thing be better for you as a user? Like, how do you want to interact with it? How do you want to, sign up for it, or whatever it is? Like you said, it doesn't necessarily relate only to digital products. It can be the flow of an office, or a designer I know was hired by a pizza delivery company because they had an issue with too many pizzas were getting returned, right? And they were having to give refunds, and they couldn't work out why. So they hired a UX designer to try and figure out the problem. The other way to look at it is, if you think of an analogy of a house, right? You need a house.
Right, okay.
So what's the first thing you do? You go to an architect, and he builds or she designs a blueprint.
Okay.
That blueprint then goes to the engineer or the bricklayer or the plumber or whoever, and they build the house. Right? They put up the walls and they put up the windows and they make the structure of the house. Then you get the interior designer who comes and paints the walls, makes it all feel nice, makes it chooses the sofa and the cushions.
Put some clothes in somewhere.
Yeah, right. So the UX designer is the architect. How is this house going to function? Where are the doors going to go so that I can get to the bathroom when I need to?
All right.
Right. If I put the window here, am I going to be able to see sunset?
Should I put the fire in the bathroom?
Yeah, exactly. Should I put the plug socket right next to the shower? Probably not.
Yeah.
Right. Should I put the window so I can see the sunset? Yeah, let's do that.
Yes. Okay.
Then the engineer comes. That's the developer. If we're talking about a digital product, and the engineer will say, "You've put a window that is the entire size of this wall. We can't build that? This is what I can build with the resources that I have." So then you change the design and
adapt.
Make but hopefully the architect talks to the engineer before that process. And the design talks to what is actually possible.
Before, okay.
And then the interior designer in this analogy is the user interface designer who does the mood board and the colors and what are the buttons going to look like and making sure the typeface creates the right mood and all of that kind of thing.
Yeah, okay.
So the UX designer is the architect.
That's awesome.
And what we do is research to find out what the problem is that needs to be solved. So maybe the work of a UX designer is you have an idea for your business, but you don't know whether it's going to work. So you could hire someone like me to come in, and we would do surveys and interviews with your clients and see whether this project has legs. See whether this is a feature that your customers require. or will get value from.
Before even spending money, right?
So you pay a little bit of money to figure out, is there actually mileage here? Is this worth investing properly in building, if we go back to the house analogy, I want to build a new extension, but I want to test the ground to see whether it's stable first.
Yeah.
Right? So the first step is research, then planning, you work out the basic structure, and then the first thing that we do is draw on paper.
Yeah. Sketch.
This is how it's basically going to look.
Research, plan, and sketch.
And then you test.
And then you test.
So here's a statistic that's kind of relevant for a one-man business, like I guess most people who are listening. 50% of all development work on websites and apps is rework.
Ooh.
So
that hurts.
It hurts, right? And what's the most expensive part of building a website or building an app? It's the development.
Yes.
These guys get paid a fortune.
To fix the mistakes that could be avoided.
That could be avoided in the first place. So if you plan it properly, if you think about what are the problems that we're going to face down the road, then you can deal with them before they become problems.
Yes.
And then you save 50% on your development bill.
It's saving you money. It's making you take action like smarter and like more effective actions, basically, right? Do you have any recommendations on books or things that people can start and then to get to know UX a little bit better, going deep on this subject?
Yeah, for sure. So there's a guy called Don Norman who runs a company called the Nielsen Norman Group. He is basically the OG of UX. He came up with a lot of the terminology that we use in the industry. And he wrote this book called The Design of Everyday Things. So Design of Everyday Things is more based around physical objects rather than digital products or services or anything like that. But it gives you an idea of the design process of how you can end up with something that's good. Design is not a vision or something beautiful. It's something that works.
It works. Right? It's a solution for something,
right? It's a
right?
solution.
Yeah.
And then the other book that I'd recommend is by a guy called Steve Krug. It's called Don't Make Me Think, which is a perfect title. It's a great book. It's a short read.
Yes, I love this book, yeah.
Most of what we do as UX designers is make it as easy as possible for people to achieve the goal that they require. What is
less effort, right?
Less effort.
To get what you need.
What's the goal for you as a business owner for your website? Is it sales? Let's make it as easy as possible for people to buy.
Let's break it down, baby.
Is it information?
Yeah.
Is it a news website? Let's make it as easy as possible to get that information. So whatever I, as a user, am coming to the website for, it's clearly signposted. It's easy for me to find. It's it works. And then let's make it beautiful.
Yes, and I think this book, it's such a great reference, and I'm glad that you mentioned that, because the book itself, it's a great, let's say, example of how can you apply UX and everything. The book is so simple.
So simple.
It's really easy to understand all the concepts, and the way that he designed the book, it's perfect. So
lots of pictures and big words.
Lots of pictures, and so you can apply UX in everything, guys. Everything you're doing, even your relationship with let's be more effective on conversations, guys.
When you go to the kitchen and you want a glass of water, what are you going to do? You're going to whatever. It's 6 o'clock in the morning, you've just woken up, you're tired, you're getting ready for work, whatever. You go in, you stumble in, you find the glass, you fill up the thing. No. Think about that process. Where is the glass in relation to the tap? Yeah. Can you optimize that? If you move the glasses from one cupboard to a different cupboard, would that make your life easier in that moment? Where do you put your keys when you come in to the house?
Exactly.
This is all UX. If you have some people have their shoes in a big pile, right? And every morning they're like, oh, where's that shoe?
Where's the shoe?
It's under the bed, it's under the couch.
Can relate it.
Some people have a rack, and the shoes are there.
It's always easy.
This is UX. It's like, how can I make my life quicker, simpler, easier, so I have more time to focus on doing the things that are important?
Totally.
I mean, look at Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
Right? and this has been scientifically proven. Every day he wore the same pair of jeans and the same black polo neck, right?
He didn't want to think about it.
He didn't want to think about it.
Yeah.
And it has actually been proven by science that if you reduce the number of tiny decisions that you have to make in the day, you have more energy to create, to put into your work, to be the best you can be. Whereas if you're constantly making decisions, what shirt shall I wear? Where have I put my keys? All of this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, we only have a certain amount of bandwidth.
Of decisions.
Of
energy.
Decisions, of energy, of focus.
Wow.
And the more we can streamline that, the easier our work life, our relationships, everything will be.
Man, this is such a powerful message. How can you start developing a plan, like a UX plan, to improve something? Because what I love about UX is because it's all based on reveal. So it's true thing. It's not assumptions, right? So it's not, I think this app will be a hit.
I
right?
chose this color because it looks great.
It looks great. No. You prototype. That's why you create like really, let's say, simple prototype sketch so we can test this. So I want to talk about the test phase. It's such an important phase, right, Tom?
So design is a 5-step process. Research, planning, design, test, then build. So many people go straight to step 5.
To build.
Right?
Yes.
They get a bunch of bricks and they start building their house, and then guess what? 3 weeks later it falls down.
Sometimes, sorry to interrupt you. Sometimes when you are afraid of something and you're afraid to ask that girl, like, whatever, you have to make some bold moves. But that's not what we're talking about here, right? We're talking about here, like...
There is always at some point, there is a creative leap. There is a leap of faith. Right? At some point, there has to be.
Yeah.
But then you test that.
Yeah, exactly.
So you have a feature for your business that you want to launch, right? But you don't know if it has any legs. You want to find out whether this is a good idea, right? So this is to talk to you, how do you start making a plan for whether to do it? So the first thing you do, talk to your customers, right? Make a survey, interview some customers or clients or whoever it is that's going to be using this feature.
What kind of questions do you ask? Like that's a good, like, how can you start?
That's a great question. So what are you trying to figure out from the questions that you're asking, right? Mm-hmm. Is this idea that I have a good idea, right? You want to validate your assumptions. And then what do people want it to look like, right? Because maybe I have this great idea, but it turns out that people like the concept, but they want different features.
Yeah.
Right? Which I hadn't thought about. So I need to get that information from my customers.
So you can start with assumption, but you definitely ask a question. Yeah. Does that solve your problems? Do you have anything else you were expecting to see here?
And super important, where are you struggling currently? What is not working about my service from your perspective? Where is the pain point for you? Maybe you're having trouble with the checkout. Maybe the customer service is really bad. Maybe you don't know, maybe it's a physical store where you have, and you don't know where the store is. I don't know. I'm just...
So many, could be so many things, yeah.
Because I guarantee you, however well you're doing in your business, it's not perfect.
There's something you can
that is guaranteed.
And sometimes people attach this to business, to cash flow, to money, right? So it's not about that, because UX can easily make your life so much simpler,
and it can make you more money.
And of course,
because
right?
if you eliminate the pain points, what people are going to enjoy your website,
more value,
your app. They're going to enjoy shopping in your store. They're going to enjoy whatever it is that you're providing. If you provide them with a good experience, they're going to interact with that experience. They're going to spend more money. They're going to refer their friends.
Yes.
If you have a shitty experience, they say you have it's like 0.4 of a second or something. I can't remember the exact number to make a first impression, and you have about 7 seconds.
Nailed it.
To basically seal the deal.
Yeah.
Most people will make their decision within that time.
It's so much fast, man. It's kind of scary, like how fast it is too.
Yeah, right? And if you think about it, when you log onto a website, if it takes more than 2 seconds to load, you're onto something else, right?
I definitely recommend people to think about UX as the solution, as even the shortcut to make their life simpler, because if you just need to ask people, just need to ask questions.
To come back to what you said earlier, what questions should people ask?
Yes, okay.
I'm going to tell you one question that is basically the core of everything. Why? Why? You ask why, and then you ask why again, and then you ask why again. So, why do you need to build this feature? Because I need to make more money. Okay, well, how is this feature going to make you more money? Well, because it's going to provide this great service. Why do people need that service? Well, because oh, but why? And then you get, every time you ask why, you get deeper and deeper, and then you understand the real reason. Because the first time, when you ask someone why the first time, they'll tell you what they think is why. They will not tell you what they believe is why.
Oh, okay, that's a good piece of information.
So you need to ask why several times. Yeah. And every time you don't just say why,
no,
like
just,
a 4-year-old.
Yeah, I have like my mentor. He used to say last year. I asked him like the same questions. It's really important for me to master the research step, because that will like kind of guide me all the way through the process. So I was asking me what exactly, how can I do like the flow? How should I ask questions so I don't miss the flow? Instead, you know what? You just tell people, can you go a little bit more in deep on that?
Is there anything more you can tell me about that?
About that?
That's a really interesting point that you make. Can you explain it a bit more?
Exactly. That's perfect. Because then people are like, okay, you are interested in it. Okay, I'll tell you everything. That's a pinpoint.
Exactly.
And blah.
You give people the opportunity to stand on a podium and talk. They're going to stand on a podium and talk.
They will.
But you need to make them feel valued and
exactly.
That their opinion is worth something, and then you have to try and shut them up. That's the next question.
Key word here for me that blew me away. I always felt that, but empathy.
For sure.
You know what? I think UX in the future will be those kind of things, like just like Googling these days, right? Oh, Googling. So people, it will be so natural, because I can almost see like, like human beings, there's like this evolution on how we treat each other. Of course, like empathy is there's a big part on this, right?
Yeah.
And UX is just like bringing this natural feeling, like it's almost like talking about love. It's kind of cheesy, but it's true. Like, man, just care about
creating a relationship
between a
business and a user.
Do you care about your employee? Do you care about your user, your client, right? So just build something that make their life easier. And then I think that will be natural for us in the future.
And if you look at all of the businesses that are successful, Apple, Nike, whoever, the core of what they do is not about building a shoe. It's not about building a computer. It's about making your life easier.
It's powerful.
Yeah. So if you think of Apple as an example, what's their slogan? We make great computers. No. Their slogan is think different.
Yes. And use our device as a way to express that.
All of that is like by the way, we also make great computers.
Yeah.
But with Apple, you will be a better person. You will achieve your dreams. You will think differently to everyone else because you're an Apple user.
That's fantastic, man. I love that. And I love this. If there's one thing you like to ask them, exercise you like them to do, to make their life simpler, to make like their business better, what do you recommend them to do, Tom?
Speak to the customers.
Speak to the customers.
So much of what we do, we get lost in the process. We get lost in the product that we're building or whatever it is, and we forget to talk to the people who actually engage with it. Why do they buy it? Why do they use it? Why do they not buy it? What would make them buy it? If you're not having this conversation with your clients, with your customers, your business will not last. It can't last.
Yeah.
Because you won't keep up with
not going to be
trends.
relevant.
You're not going to be relevant. You might have got lucky and made, had an idea that resonates with people, but if you're not going to continue that discussion with them, you're not going to stay relevant.
And my final thoughts is kind of a little bit passionate, a bit like, UX is empathy, and empathy is love, and that's my message. That's love. Spread the love.
Really, brother.
Thank you so much, Tom, for coming.
Thank you for having me. This has been great. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you so much. Your website.
Yeah, for sure. So super easy, tomlanc.com. That's TOMLANC.com.
Thank you so much, Tom. See you next week with one more episode of One Man Business Podcast.